Hi everyone, I'm Paul Orfanos, National Community Engagement Manager at Delphi Bank, which is a division of the Bendigo Adelaide Group, and welcome to Delphi Connect, a segment where, as part of our commitment to community engagement, we bring you leading experts from fields as far and wide as economics and the markets, property, health, scientific research, hospitality, the arts, community affairs, just to name a few. Hopefully you'll find our segments both informative and enjoyable. Today we're featuring a topic that's new for us at Delphi Bank, but something that's very important to us all, and that's food. And I'm pleased to introduce award-winning French-trained chef, Petros Dellidis. Thank you, Petros, for making time to be with us today.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Your first experience, Petros, in a commercial kitchen was at your brother's takeaway business. But after multiple career steps, you end up being awarded the Thierry Marx Career Development Award, which took you to a 2 Michelin-starred restaurant in France. What are some of the lessons you learned whilst working as a chef in France?
You're talking about two different worlds here, Paul. There was, my brother's pizza shop was in Diamond Creek in the early 2000s, and the 2 Michelin-star restaurant we're talking about is in Pauillac in the south of France, in Bordeaux. So it's two different ends of the world, figuratively and realistically, when it comes to skill set. Look, my brother's pizza shop taught me, in my adolescence, taught me the camaraderie and teamwork that's required in the hospitality industry, and working hard and sacrificing in your family's business. The 2 Michelin-star restaurant, almost 10 years later, showed me what it's like to play at the elite level. It's like playing the local leagues, football or soccer, and then all of a sudden playing Premier League. The finesse is different, the skill level is different. A lot more is demanded of you. You're working in a bigger team. Everyone's fighting for the common goal, and it was an amazing experience. It's a scholarship and award that still goes on in Australia at the moment through Restaurant Catering Australia, and it's something that it's an experience I look back on very fondly on working in my time with Chef Thierry Marx and his team.
Most organisations, whether they're a restaurant or a bank, try to achieve cost efficiencies without diminishing the quality of their products and services. Now, you've spent time as chef consultant at various restaurants, including the Belvedere Hotel in Mykonos, Greece, with a specific task of achieving a more cost-effective and cost-efficient kitchen and menu. How did you go about this?
Look, I was presented at a unique opportunity to work with the Ioannidis brothers, the owners of the Belvedere Club. At the time, they just made a couple acquisitions on the island, and they wanted to transform their businesses or pre-existing businesses into their level or their style. So they asked me to go in and work with staff that were at entry level or lower level skill levels, and then to build them up to whatever the offering was supposed to be. For example, we worked with some entry-level chefs and cooks on how to do club sandwiches, and I was watching them make one club sandwich in 12 minutes. So if you're going to wait 12 minutes for a club sandwich, it better be a bloody good one. But reality is we shaved down that 12 minutes into 4 minutes, and it was just as simple as easy as like organising yourself within an arm's reach and 2 steps left or right. Nothing more than that movement. You're not running 6 meters to a kilometer. 6 meters to get a tomato, or 5 meters over there to get a couple slices of bread, or where the toaster's positioned. It's all organized and structured around watching and listening to how people work, and then finding and showing them how to be a lot more effective through, practicality.
Mm-hmm. Many organisations want to achieve world's best practice in their sector. How do you conduct your research into food trends and then decide which of these may appeal to your customers?
It's a very diverse question. Obviously, there's so much changing in the food world by the minute. It's a tricky one. Look, you can stay in touch and keep an eye on social media and what business is happening around there. You can keep an eye on, walk down the street and see what offerings are happening, and see how things are being sold, and what's the best way of approaching and on selling. Ultimately, you're all playing. The end game is to achieve maximum sales with less amount of drama, and the most cohesion as relatable. More comes down to how everyone's going to work together, and having the most attractive offering, I suppose.
Petros, many organisations, including Delphi Bank and our parent, the Bendigo Adelaide Bank, try to develop bespoke solutions to cater for their customer needs. Now, I believe one of your previous roles was to execute bespoke menus at large events such as the Spring Racing Carnival and the Australian Formula One Grand Prix. How did you undertake what to me seems like a very complicated task?
Yeah, it is. Look, I used to have hair, Paul, but anyway, the events like that, they take a lot of planning, and ultimately you got to work within a team that you're all like-minded professionals, individuals who want to achieve that common goal. So you need to work within your confines of whatever budgetary or logistics there is involved, but you got to, once you get your brief from, or in that case the Australian Grand Prix Corporation or the VRC for that matter, the reality is you're working towards a brief, towards working with a group of people who are all trying to go for the same thing. And ultimately, these bespoke events happen all the time. The ones you mentioned, there's also the Lonsdale Street Greek Festival that we worked on last year as well. These are events, are all amazing opportunities and experiences to show what you're worth and how to execute.
Now, I believe that you developed dishes for all three series of the SBS TV's hit show, Shane Dahlia's Spice Journey, that's currently airing, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, at about 150 countries around the world. That would have been some experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great way of understanding other parts of the industry. It's all good to be a restaurant chef or a cafe chef, but in the reality is you also got to understand, I wanted more strings in my bow, so to speak. So I wanted to understand how it works on both sides of a lens of a TV show or a cookbook, as well as understanding catering and cooking for mass events like Grand Prix and spring racing carnivals and whatever. It was a great understanding and awesome way to see how those events work, or how those projects work. And it was an awesome opportunity and understanding of things to take forward for myself in the future.
Petros, you're now working with dietitians to look after the nutritional needs of elite athletes. How did this come about?
I've got a few elite athletes as friends, and I sort of, as much as they're really good at chasing a ball and their fitness is really good, and that they sort of don't have enough of an importance on what food they eat. It's not all supplements, it's not all protein powders. There's that level of understanding and knowledge for athletes to know how to achieve the best out of themselves, how to feel the best, all these clubs, all these elite athlete clubs invest a lot of time and money into wellness programs, and understand, to get their athletes perform at their highest level, to win premierships, to win grand finals, to win the big cup, whatever it is. So once we realized that there was a bit of a hole in the market on how to show athletes how there's better ways to eat and there's better ways to cook on simple things at home. Athletes aren't that much different from the rest of us. They're great at chasing a ball or belting it for six over a fence, but the reality is they're just as normal as the rest of us, where they struggle in the kitchen too sometimes, and they just need a little bit of help and some knowledge in some areas.
Petros, many of us are working from home at the moment. What would you recommend as a hearty meal that can perhaps be prepared the night before and also reheated as a delicious lunch the day after?
Look, there's a lot of delicious things you can do under that brief, Paul. I'd love to show you. I've got a really good recipe for a chicken kritharaki, which I think you'll like.
Well, if I can politely, on behalf of everyone watching Delphi Connect, ask you, Petros, if you can demonstrate to us how this is prepared, I'd really appreciate it.
Sounds great to me.
Over to you.
Welcome to all of our friends from Delphi and Bendigo Bank. We're here to make a delicious meal that we can make at any part of the week for lunch or dinner. We're going to make a chicken kritharaki with celery and peas. Kritharaki is also known as risoni. So here we have our kritharaki or risoni. We have sliced celery, and we have diced onions, parsley stalks, garlic, and a little bit of rosemary. This is our chicken mince. Lean chicken mince has just been rolled into balls. And we're going to finish our beautiful dish with the peas, some yogurt, and some finely chopped parsley leaves. And we're going to finish this agua lemon, which is what the egg and the lemon is for. So we've got our nice medium-sized pot here. We're going to get a little bit of olive oil in to start. We're going to start off with onions, garlic, and parsley stalks. So the whole parsley stalk, we're going to use all of it. We've picked off the leaves, finely chopped them, and the stalks, it's a shame to throw them away, so you might as well just use them up. We finely sliced them just like the onions, and we're going to start that into the pan now. Everything in there. And you want to saute this down just so it gets nice and soft and translucent. So we've sauteed down our onions and garlic and parsley stalks. This is taking about 2 to 3 minutes on a moderate heat. In our pot, I'm just going to add the celery. And we're going to cook this down to nice and soft as well. So this smells great. We've sauteed down the celery and the onions now. I'm just going to add the kritaraki or the risoni and stir that through. So the pasta's nice and hot right now, and it's time to add some stock. Now you can add stock, you can add water, any packet stock you want, but we're going to use whey for today. So if we've hung a kilo of yogurt and we've kept the liquid from the whey that just come out at the bottom, and we're going to use this for stock. As I said, you don't have to do this. I've got some lying around, or otherwise more than happy to use some stock in the freezer or the packet stuff. I'm going to add about 500 mils. You need to reserve about 100 mils of this for the other lemon or later. This all smells delicious. It's come up to the boil pretty fast because our stock was already warm. So I'm going to put a lid on this and put it down on a simmer. So this has been 15 minutes. Moderate heat. I've just been stirring occasionally. I'm going to do a little bit of a season because I haven't seasoned yet. Some flake salt. And I'm going to slowly, and I want to taste the grains. I want to double check that I know the pasta is going to be cooked, but I just want to double check. I'm just going to grab a grain and yeah, so it's about 3/4, almost cooked. I'm going to start putting the chicken balls in, nice and slow. Try and have some space in between them. Don't just throw the plate in. And this is literally minced chicken from the butcher, lean chicken mince, chicken breast preferably, but it doesn't matter. And as I said, just pop in between. There's gaps in between where you're popping the chicken balls, just so they cook nice and evenly in the stock. I'm going to pop a lid back on this and give it a couple more minutes. So now we're at the stage of the chicken kritaraki finishing itself off, and the chicken balls are in and they're poaching off nicely. I've just brought the whey back to the boil, what was remaining. If it's not, as I said, if it's not whey, then it's chicken stock, beef stock, whatever stock you want to use. If you get stuck, use a bit of water. I've got an egg in here with the stick blender ready to go. I'm going to add the hot whey or hot stock into here, all in, and blend it. So this should be nice and fluffy, because this is going to season our stock. I'm just going to add a little bit of lemon juice. So if these chicken balls are cooked off now, then we're ready to finish this off completely. I haven't stirred anything yet. I'm just going to double check that the chicken balls are ready to go. Yeah, perfect. So they're cooked off, nice and cooked all the way through. So the pasta's cooked, the chicken's cooked. I'm turning, all the heat is off now. Residual heat's going to finish this off now. So the peas are going in. Our chopped parsley is going in. Yogurt. And our lemon sauce. All in. And really gently just stir this through. Beautiful. This looks and smells awesome. I'm just going to taste it for seasoning. At this stage, you can add a little bit more salt if you want, which we will. It's really balanced with the egg white, which has really made it nice and fluffy. The yogurt in it has made it really a little bit nice and acidic, but it's different acidities between the lemon and the yogurt, so it's really fresh and really clean. I'm just going to stir this through now, and we're ready to serve. A really easy dish to recreate at home, easily multiplied for 2 or 4 or more people. Huge thank you to our friends at Delphi and Bendigo Bank. Paul, I wish you were here.
Petro, that looks delicious and well done. Petro, to me, learning to prepare basic meals constitutes a life lesson. Do you feel that schools, as part of a holistic education, should emphasise the teaching of basic cooking skills more than they do?
Absolutely. There's certain skills that you need to know when you come out of high school or primary school. Like, when you're 18, 19 years old, do you know how to open a bank account? Do you know how to cook? These are basic life skills that you need to have. And I honestly think cooking is something that isn't done enough of through high school. Like a home economics class is great, but there's certain life skills I think need to be, and you don't have to know every possible thing. You don't have to, study the book on cooking every little thing, but just something as basic as cooking eggs is, an entry-level thing that you can, if you can cook yourself breakfast every day, you're off to a good start.
During this unusual period, we're all trying to find ways to relax, whether it's exercising, listening to music or watching a movie. Besides being a profession, is cooking also relaxing for you, Petros?
Yeah, it depends on when it's relaxing though. So at home, when I'm cooking for my partner, my family, whatever, it's fine. It is relaxing. When you've got a 100-seat restaurant on a Saturday night and it's 5:45 and something's not, equipment's not working and the raviolis haven't been rolled and it's a bit frantic and a bit less than desirable. But that's how it is. And as long as you deal with that situation accordingly, then it becomes the rewards are there at the end anyway.
Thank you, Petros, for making time to be with us today.
No worries. Thank you.
That's all today on Delphi Connect. On behalf of all of us at Delphi Bank, thanks for joining us. Bye for now.